What's happening, people? It's the homie Smitster 400, one half of Straight Off the Ave. Shout out my co-host, Mr. Dubbins, and this is Smitster Reacts. Shout out to the subscribers. Welcome back. And if you made it to this video, go ahead, give us a like and subscribe. New content every day. All right, so if you ain't here yet, man, Drake's mansion was shot at. A bodyguard was hit. And without further ado, man, I'm finna get into reacting to this or the news footage. You know what I'm saying? Let's get into this. This is crazy.
Let's take you live now to the Bridle Path area where police are updating their investigation just outside Drake's home. Let's listen in live.
Pleased to be here today. I know there's a lot of interest in this incident, and I hope you can also appreciate that information is very limited at this time, so I only have so much. What I do know, I will advise you of, and I will take a few questions at the end. This morning at about 2 a.m., police were called to a shooting at the residence behind me here. When officers arrived, they located a male who was suffering from an apparent gunshot wound. That male was taken to hospital in serious condition. That person was working apparently as a security guard at the residence. He was standing outside of the gates in front of the residence when the shooting occurred. We have individuals who obviously performed the shooting who were seen in a vehicle. I do not have a description of the vehicle or the suspects at this time. Again, it's very early on in the investigation. I cannot speak to a motive at this time because it's so early, but as we get information, we will share it with you. Anyone with information is asked to call 416-808-2510 or Crime Stoppers. You can expect to see an increased presence in this neighborhood for the next little while, but it's no different than any other shooting or firearm discharge. We'll have officers here looking for witnesses to come forward, as well as we canvassing for video. I'll now take a few questions.
Is Drake home and is he cooperating with this investigation?
I cannot confirm if Drake was home at the time the incident occurred, but I can tell you that we are in contact with his team and they are cooperating.
To what extent is the rat beef between Drake and Kendrick Lamar part of the investigation focus?
So I am aware of what you're talking about, but it is so early in the investigation that we don't have a motive at this time, and so I cannot.
Why are they mentioning Kendrick? Why are they mentioning Kendrick? Stupid.
Comment further on that.
While the motive may not be confirmed, if that is something that you're looking at, knowing that this beef crosses borders into the U.S., is there anything being done in the investigation to maybe prevent a potential suspect from leaving Canada?
Why in the world would Kendrick have shooters cross a border, bruh? That that don't make no sense. Like, they reaching, bruh. They reaching like a T-Rex right now with the short arms, cuz. Damn, bro.
So this is no different than any other investigation, okay? Like, it's maybe more high profile because there's more people here, but we treat it like any other incident. So we'll be using all our resources. Our teams will be doing as much as they can to investigate this, but it'll be no different than any other investigation at this time.
The man who was shot still in serious condition. Have you been able to talk to him? Has he not been able to give you a suspect description? And how is there no video yet of the car that fled?
So I can tell you that all I'm going to say about the victim is that he's still in the hospital in serious condition. And I'm not going to just. No, I'm not going to at this time.
This is obviously a very well-to-do neighborhood. There's likely a lot of video around. Have you guys begun your canvassing? Do you expect to get a good amount of video involved with this?
I would be surprised if we didn't. I can say that we've already collected some video evidence which captures the incident.
You said suspects plural. Can you say, are we talking 2, 3, or more?
No idea at this time.
And would you characterize this as a drive-by shooting or more specifically a stop and open fire?
I'm not going to get into specifics about the investigation at this time, just that a vehicle was involved and then fled the scene.
With law enforcement elsewhere, like Los Angeles in the United States?
That will be part of our investigation, but again, we're very early on.
How did the 911 call come in? Who made it?
I don't have that information.
Was this security guard alone, or were there other security guards here too?
Why are they asking about investigating in LA? Like the man ain't got problems in Toronto.
I don't have that information.
In the incident, did it look like the security guard was the target? Were they trying to get past him?
Don't know at this time.
You said you have video capturing the incident?
Yes.
The actual shooting?
Yes.
And you can't give us a description of the vehicle?
Nope, not at this time.
Because you don't want to release it?
No, because we're dealing with video quality issues, correct? So we, as we have information and we're able to analyze video better, then we'll be able to provide more information.
You mentioned that the shooting occurred outside the gates, but there are markers inside near a garage, and there's an area cordoned off there. Would shell casings have gone that far? Why would that be?
I haven't even walked up to the scene, so I can't comment. Oh, thank you.
Do we know how many shots were fired?
No, that's going to be part of the investigation. Can't comment at this time. Thank you very much.
Gang related?
That concludes today's conference. No problem, I can do that.
Yo, you peep how as soon as they said there was markers inside on the grounds, you know what I'm saying, how he got kind of like fumbled up. Like if this was a drop, like, you feel me? I don't know, bruh.
That concludes today's conference. Thank you for attending. Paul Krufchuk. The
They
spelling
shut
is
it down.
P-A-U-L, and the last name is K.
All right, we continue to follow breaking news from the Bridle Path neighborhood this morning, where Toronto police just updated their investigation at Drake's home. Police tell us they acknowledge the amount of public interest around this story. Several questions remaining at this time. 2 a.m., that is when police got the call about a shooting just outside the home. That is where they found a male suffering from gunshot wounds. He was taken to hospital with serious injuries. Toronto police now confirming that male was working at as a security guard outside the home. Police also saying the suspects were seen in a vehicle. They cannot speak to a motive. They cannot confirm if Drake was home at the time as well. Our CB24's Courtney Heels is following the story very closely, and she joins us live from outside Drake's home with the very latest. Courtney.
And Lena, we just heard from police acknowledging there is a lot of interest in this shooting investigation that they're looking into at this time. As you say, still a lot of questions. We don't know if Drake was home. We also don't know the motive. Officers saying they're treating this like any other investigation right now. Also acknowledging they do have video of this incident. They know there's a vehicle involved for the suspect or suspects who fired at the security guard. What we learned, the security guard standing outside of the home, Drake's home, just outside of the gates. This individual injured as a result of the shooting rushed to hospital. He is still in hospital with what are described as serious injuries, and police, of course, will be speaking with that investigator. But there's a lot they're still not saying. What we did hear, they say that members of Drake's team cooperating with the team who are looking here into exactly what unfolded. And again, they'll be going over that surveillance video. Obviously, we have some questions for police on what they were able to describe, why they aren't able to describe the vehicle, for example, involved in this. They just aren't sharing that right now because they're going over the quality of that video and seeing what else they can share. But a pretty significant update in the sense where, Lena, you mentioned this. We now know it was a security guard standing outside of Drake's home who was shot at. This was at about 2 o'clock in the morning. And for anybody just joining us now, this is the Bridle Path area. This is Park Lane Circle. This is the street Drake lives on. Just behind me here, that's his home. There's still a lot of officers behind me here and a really significant police presence, not only just out on the street, but also in the courtyard area where there is a lot of yellow police tape inside, and officers, the officer we just heard from, unable to speak to what they're doing on the property. But again, we know members of Drake's team working with police on this, and that it was a security guard who was injured seriously as a result of this shooting. For motive, still questions on that. They're not speculating. They obviously knew we had questions about this back and forth, this beef that's been going on with another very well-known rap artist, Kendrick Lamar, asked if there's any influence here, anything to suggest there's a connection. They say they don't know, and they're not saying anything on that just yet. So we'll have to wait and see if there is anything further to add to this. But pretty concerning for anybody who lives around here. And still, we don't know if Drake was home when this happened. So we'll see if maybe more information becomes available on that front, Lena.
Absolutely. And it is really important to note, Courtney, that investigators say they have video of the incident. They're not releasing that to the public at this time. And they're also not saying much about the suspects they're looking for, but they do have video.
Yeah, there was the question, you say you have video of this incident. They're really not saying much. In fact, there was even a question, so was this a drive-by? It certainly sounds like it. You've got a suspect vehicle involved in this, one person or a couple of individuals, and the fact that the person was outside. They're just not getting into the specifics of that. And they also say they're still going over some of that video, I'd imagine, to ensure they get the best quality video, maybe identify more on the vehicle involved. We don't have any description on that, Lena. We don't have a color, make, even a direct.
Look, that's wild. That's wild. That's wild. But they had an update video that I'm gonna also add to this before we wrap this thing up here. Because look, man, I don't know why they trying to put Kendrick in the middle of this. Cause it don't make sense that he would go the whole way to some damn Canada or have people, you know what I mean? Like, as if he doesn't have the Weeknd and other people in general. I ain't gonna put it on the Weeknd either, but other people in general. You feel me?
A security guard has been shot outside the mansion of rap star Drake in Toronto. It comes in the middle of a rap battle between the famous Canadian and his American rap rival.
You see what I'm saying? Why do they?
They've been trading tracks, trashing each other for years. And the cover art of Lamar Kendrick's most recent diss showed a map of Drake's Toronto property. CTV.
That is where it gets tricky. See, look, that's the one part. But it's like, wasn't it announced that he lived there? Like, didn't people know where his house was? But that is a little bit tricky. You feel what I'm saying? For him to do that. And then that happened afterwards. But other than that, it's like, bro, it ain't like he went to, you feel me?
Raheem Ladani joins us from the scene with more on that. Raheem.
Morella, police are not saying if Drake was actually inside the home at the time of the shooting. However, there is plenty of speculation as to why he could be a target.
You can see police tape strung across the courtyard of this multi-million-dollar mansion in Toronto's Bridle Path neighborhood, the home belonging to Canadian rapper Drake, now a crime scene in a police investigation.
I cannot confirm if Drake was home at the time the incident occurred, but I can tell you that we are in contact with his team and they are cooperating.
Officers were called for reports of a shooting just after 2 Tuesday morning in the area of Park Lane Circle and Post Road.
If you ever had the opportunity to drive past Drake's residence, you'll notice that there are gates and there are walls and there is sort of strategically placed trees, etc., to provide security. And there are also uniformed security guards at the residence.
A man who is not Drake was found at the scene suffering from serious but non-life-threatening injuries, and he was taken to hospital.
That person was working apparently as a security guard at the residence. He was standing outside of the gates in front of the residence when the shooting occurred.
The shooting comes in the wake of an escalating rap feud between Drake and fellow artist Kendrick Lamar. While their rival relationship dates back years, it resurfaced last October in the form of a diss track. That continued this March and escalated over the weekend, with both rappers making serious, unsubstantiated claims about the other.
They'll be scouring all the online postings to see if anybody made any untoward or violent threats towards Drake or anybody that works for Drake or his residents. These are the things that they'll be looking at.
Police say a suspect fled the area of Drake's home in a vehicle, but have not released any description.
Despite the media attention, police say they are treating this like any other shooting and confirm that they have been in touch with Drake's team, who is cooperating.
Look, they need to stop with the whole he's in a beef with another American rapper, you know what I'm saying? They need to stop that, bruh. Cause it just don't make sense. You know what I mean? It don't make sense. But man, they really popped at the bull Drake's crib, bruh. If you made it to this point in the video, go ahead, give us a like and subscribe. Shout out to the subscribers. We appreciate y'all. And This is crazy, man. This the homie Smitster 400, Smitster Reacts. Y'all have a good one wherever you at in the world. Peace. Owie.